You said you'd go. You really meant it when you said it. But when the day came, something shifted. A heaviness settled in your chest. And instead of getting ready, you found yourself staring at the ceiling, constructing an excuse that sounded believable enough. And the moment you sent that text, "Sorry, can't make it," you felt something strange. Relief. Not guilt first. Relief first. And then the guilt came rushing in right after, because what kind of person feels relieved about canceling on people they actually like? Here's something most people get completely wrong about you. They see you going quiet for days, sometimes weeks. They see you dodge invitations, avoid group chats, and disappear without explanation. And they build a story about you in their heads. But psychology tells a completely different story. People who rarely socialize are often the most emotionally perceptive people in any room they walk into. This video is going to explain exactly what's happening inside you. Not in textbook language, not in a way that makes you feel like a case study, but in a way that finally makes you feel like someone actually gets it. Imagine you walk into a party, normal party, people you know. Someone hands you a drink and says, "So glad you made it." And for a few minutes, you're okay. But then it starts, quietly. Somewhere in the background of your mind, a process begins that most people around you aren't running at all. You start tracking. Not intentionally, it's just what your brain does. You notice the way someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. You catch the micropause before someone answers a question. You sense the tension between two people across the room who are pretending everything's fine. You are not just attending this party, you are processing it, every layer of it, simultaneously. And by the time an hour has passed, you are tired the way a computer gets tired from running too many programs at once. You smile when you're supposed to smile. You laugh when it seems right. But inside, you're already gone. Even after you leave, your mind doesn't clock out. It replays. That thing you said, did it land right? Did they take it the wrong way? The party ends, but the processing doesn't. Now, pause for a second. Think about the last time someone asked, "Are you okay?" in that way that made you feel like being calm was somehow suspicious. You were probably fine. You were just present in a way that made others uncomfortable. Silence doesn't scare you. Small talk does. Not because you can't do it, you know the script, but every time you run through it, something in you goes flat. Because you aren't looking for a script, you're looking for something real. When someone asks how you're doing, you don't want them to look past you waiting for the answer. You want them to actually want to know. And those conversations, the real ones, where time disappears and you forget to check your phone, those don't happen often. So you go quiet, you step back, you sit at the edge of the room and observe. And people think you're distant, difficult, maybe arrogant. But what you actually are is hungry for something real that the room just can't give you. Here's where it gets deeper, and this part I need you to really sit with. At some point in your life, maybe early, maybe gradually, you learned something. You learned that solitude was safe. Maybe you grew up in an environment that felt unpredictable. Maybe social experiences left you feeling drained or misunderstood so many times that your nervous system started to link being around people with "brace yourself," and your body learned it. The body keeps score. Solitude became the place where nothing unexpected could happen, where you didn't have to monitor your words or manage someone else's emotions, where you could finally exhale. But that adaptation, over time, quietly convinced you that needing people was a weakness, that reaching out was a burden, and connection stopped feeling like a need. It started feeling like something for other people, people who were better at it than you. Think about how you handle hard times. When something difficult happens, a fear that shows up at 2 a.m., a grief you can't name, you don't call someone, you go inside. You sit with it alone until you've either understood it or exhausted yourself trying. And you became extraordinarily good at it, resilient in a way that looks almost effortless from the outside. But self-reliance taken too far becomes its own kind of isolation, and isolation, dressed up as independence, is still loneliness. You're not avoiding people, you're avoiding the performance, the replying fast enough, the checking in on schedule, the showing up and saying the right things. It's the invisible labor of existing inside other people's expectations, and you are exhausted by it. But here's the twist. Every single trait, the deep processing, the love of solitude, the aversion to small talk, the emotional self-reliance, the hyper-awareness, these are not flaws in a broken system. These are features of a mind working exactly as it was built to work. The problem was never you. The problem was a world that standardized a certain way of being and called everything else a disorder. You were never broken. You were different, and different in a world that rewards sameness can feel like failure for a very long time before it finally starts to feel like what it actually is, a gift. So here is what I want to leave you with. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to reply to every message or attend every event or perform a version of yourself that makes other people more comfortable. You don't owe anyone that. But don't let protection become prison. Don't let the walls you built to keep the noise out also keep the right people out, because they exist. The ones who don't drain you, the ones who sit in silence with you, and it doesn't feel awkward, it just feels like rest. You don't need many of them, you never did. You just need a few who are real. And maybe today is the day to leave the door open just a little, not to perform, not to socialize the way the world says you should, just to let one person in who deserves to know you. Because the person you are when nobody's watching, the one who thinks in layers, feels everything, and loves in quiet, careful ways, that person is worth knowing. Don't keep them a secret forever.